Hey, what's up? It's Joe. Welcome to my 5 Minute Friday for January 12th. So, spent the early part of the week in Las Vegas for CES. It's pretty cool. Some events there, and more importantly, saw a lot of cool gadgets and cars and all kinds of stuff as you expect at CES. The place is a madhouse. It's like 130,000 people, and it's awesome, right? You get to see just all the cool new toys coming out this year. A lot of prototypes. Hung out a lot in the automotive hall, actually, so that was pretty cool. It's not an area I usually hang out in, and it was some things that were kind of cool to see. Or just a lot of electric cars and self-driving cars are the two main themes for that area, at least. So, and a lot of Chinese car companies too that I'd never heard of. So, if you think America's got cool cars, China's probably got us beat, I think. So they're doing a lot of cool stuff over there. So. Anyway, yeah, fun time. Good to see people down there. And now I'm back in Salt Lake City. It's absolutely freezing and we're getting snow every day. So I'm just actually right now dressed in a parka as I record this. It's pretty cold in my house. So anyway, things in my mind this week. I've been thinking a lot about data engineering in 2024 and maybe beyond. And it's coming on the heels of probably 1.5 years since Fundamentals of Data Engineering was published. And that was cool to see the reaction to that. Data engineering is definitely coming into its own as a proper discipline. And, it's good to talk with a lot of data engineers around the world and understand what's going on. And, I kind of want to maybe lay out some things that I'm seeing in the world of data engineering, at least from my perspective. My perspective is what I call, unquote, in quotations, most companies, right? So I'm not talking about big tech. I do talk to a lot of people at big tech. I have never worked at a big tech company. My focus is on the other 99.999% of companies out there that are not the big tech companies, but companies trying to do data stuff, and they maybe hire data engineers, and so these are some of the trends that I'm seeing and some of the things I've been noticing, at least with again, these quote most companies out there. So most data engineers are still doing pretty pedestrian stuff, right? So ETL, ELT. Batch serving data for analytics, and maybe some basic data science use cases. But what I'm not seeing a massive movement towards AI. Maybe to the extent that teams are using AI, it starts with using a Copilot. But I don't see any AI-enabled workflows with the teams I talk to, the engineers I talk to. I think the interesting thing with Copilots are engineers still want to write code, right? So engineers want to engineer stuff, and if you take the code writing too much out of the equation, I think a lot of data engineers and engineers in general, software engineers, anyone who likes to write code, they feel like there's something missing, right? So it's kind of reminds me of like electric motorcycles these days. Like I think that some bikes actually still try and sound like a gas engine just to give people the sense that it's still like the old thing. So yeah, it's just code's one of these things where I don't see that going away anytime soon. People just want to do it. Copilots can certainly help, but I think people just want to feel like they're doing something, right? The other big trend I see is just continued abstraction in the tools that we use. So ironically, I just talked about code. Now I'm going to talk about low code, no code tools. But I think that the basic pipelining is going to continue to become abstracted. Orchestration's abstracted, and what this means is that this allows data engineers to really focus on writing code where it matters, writing code where it provides a true value add for the organizations. I could say that spinning up your own data pipelines from scratch, or creating new data pipelines, if there's something on the market that already does it, I would argue just go do the thing that, or use the thing that already does it. So the continued, destruction of undifferentiated heavy lifting is a real thing. And that's where I see the continued abstraction of data tools and technologies coming into play. Another big trend that I see is FinOps, and I think playing offense and defense with data with respect to both generating revenue and also saving money. It's no surprise that the last couple of years have seen a sort of an age of austerity when it comes to just data teams in general. A lot of data teams are sadly cut. The ones that are around are having to focus on doing a lot more with a lot less. And the name of the game is being able to deliver, being able to execute, being able to quote, add value. Again, this is an ever elusive term, but it's the zeitgeist. It's the popular thing these days, is adding value, as it always has been, right? I think we kind of forgot about that in the days of easy money, but the focus is now on relentless execution. FinOps is definitely a big part of that. If you don't know what FinOps is, just look it up. But the other part is, as my friend Sol Rashidi always says, it's, you need your defense and your offensive playbooks, right? So offense is your strategy, and defense are building the robust systems that help you get to that strategy. And so I think there's definitely more focus on that. That has a lot to do with the adding value part of the thing I just talked about. And so, yeah, these are definitely some of the trends I'm seeing. I think along with that, along with the abstraction part, it means that data engineers can focus more on higher level work, what I call, quote, enterprisey practices. We called it that in our book. And enterprisey practices are things like data management, governance, modeling, and so forth. I think this, again, the pendulum is swinging back to doing things more rigorously and more formally versus the fast and relaxed way that we've been doing things in the past. Again, this when there's more focus on cost controls, on execution, there's the sense where you need to deliver quickly, but you also need to deliver correctly, right? And I think we've been delivering quickly for a long time, but I would say that the delivering correctly part of that equation is maybe something we could do better. But you're seeing teams, I think, adopting better practices. And as I've argued, countless times before, we don't have any shortage of great tools at this point. I think that the main obstacle is really our ability to utilize these tools to their fullest potential. And so this is where I'm seeing more practices coming back into vogue. And I think this is awesome, right? It's a lot like when you're training for a race or more endurance type sports, which I do sort of equate or work to. Maybe it was more like CrossFit actually, but you got to move slow to move fast, right? So you build up the engine, build up the practices, build up the muscle memory, and eventually you can move faster. But just going into an all-out sprint out of the gate, normally it doesn't really give you great results. And that's unfortunately what a lot of data teams do. They just gun it, and then they wonder why they get nothing done, and they're really exhausted. So yeah, these are the things I'm seeing. Again, continued tooling, abstraction. Most companies aren't doing AI. I mean, as I argued before, most companies are barely doing BI, let alone AI, and that's just how it is. FinOps, enterprisey practices, and so forth. So anyway, it's just, I guess, the major thing is it's the same as it ever was. It's all about adding value. I think we just kind of focus on adding value to greater or lesser degrees depending on the circumstances that we operate in. And right now it's, again, with all the attention on, quote, business value and execution, it's these are the things that matter, right? So anyway, these are the trends I'm seeing. Again, these are for the, quote, most companies out there. I don't think that this, I think big tech sort of operates in its own world, but again, they're not exempt from, a lot of the realities of the economy and so forth. They just operate in a different way. And I'm not talking about those companies, but anyway. So yeah, travel coming up at the end of the month on the 27th. That's actually in a couple weeks. I'm going to be in Austin, Texas for Data Day Texas. So if you happen to be there, it'd be great to see you. If you want tickets, check out my newsletter at joereese.substack.com. There's actually a link there with a discount code that you can get for tickets. Apart from that, I just announced Practical Data Modeling last week, which is another Substack. That'll be a place where I will be launching early drafts of my book and articles and videos and launching. It's a great community. There's 2,000 people there already, right? So it's pretty cool to see in less than a week that I got 2,000 people who are very passionate and very enthusiastic about data modeling. There's some great discussions happening in the thread. So if this interests you, definitely go check out practicaldatamodeling.substack.com. And looking forward to just spending the weekend, working on the book, working on some articles, working on my course. So the reality of my life is I don't ever take breaks. This is both a great thing and it sucks because I would like one, but I gotta get content out, gotta work, right? And so anyway, hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.